early screenings be Mario is out officially today. Yeah, they had midnight screenings, but we're adults. We go to bed at 6 p.m. after we drink our Metamucil. But we went out today after work because we're adults apparently. Saw it in Dolby, and I have to say, we're going to get this out of the way. Of course, minor spoilers lie ahead, but if you have an opportunity... Yes, if you have an opportunity to see this in Dolby, because you know Dolby's got the 4K projection, and then they got the rumble seats, and then they have that incredible surround system with the Dolby Atmos. This movie is made for Dolby, therefore it is made for a 4K home media release. But we'll get to that at the end. Mrs. Taco, you have some heavy opinions that you were sharing on the ride home.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and start with, of course, the big component here is the voice actors. That's been a big thing of contention.
Yeah.
So
I just, Chris Pratt.
Love him. Love him, Chris.
Right. So I just wish he would pick an accent and stick to it. He kept going in and out.
You didn't do that bad, bud.
Really. No, I mean it wasn't horrible, but for what was it, an hour and a half?
Mm-hmm. A very swift movie.
It was a very long movie. It was very long-winded. After I got out of it, I was exhausted. Charlie Day, I liked Charlie Day as Luigi. I also thought Charlie Day played Toad. And there was one other character that I thought he played. But then come to find out, no.
Keegan-Michael Key?
Keegan-Michael Key. Mm-hmm. And then, who else did I think he played? I don't know. But it was okay. The voice acting was okay. Jack Black was my favorite.
Jack Black as Bowser was inspired casting. Yeah, so, Fantastic. She wasn't the biggest fan of the voice acting. Now, with the voice acting, it's a weird cast. When they announced it, they put out that big old poster, and it just showed off all the voices and who they were playing. I remember looking at it. I probably stared at that thing for a good 4 or 5 hours, and I was just, my brain couldn't process it, right? Chris Pratt is Mario.
Fred
Armisen is Cranky Kong. Seth Rogen is Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong's my favorite. You got Seth Rogen to voice him. And then we sat down and we watched the movie for 90 minutes, and
the longest 90 minutes.
I'll be honest, after that 90 minutes, it didn't even register that it was the actors, because they fit the personalities that were written for them, at least for me. Now, according to review sites and things like that, the things at a 50% or whatever, I don't know. You either love it or you hate it. It really does boil down to how you feel about the voices,
Well, that, and I think also kind of what you were mentioning before on the way here, I think it also goes into, the story itself. I understand this is a movie made for the fans. Yeah. If you've played the games, the little things you pick up on, which is really awesome. Some of the things I did pick up on. And then, I think that's why I felt like it was a lot longer, because the story itself, I was telling Mr. Taco, no matter whether it's a book adaptation, if it's a play, or a video game movie, I feel like no matter what, the story should still be good. Even if you have no idea about the book, the game, the play, whatever it is, it should still be a capturing story. And I just felt like it was not.
And that's fair. It's really going to be based on personal opinion there. Because, when you play the Mario games, with the exception of, some of the other...
Which I have.
It's one of those things where it's most of the Mario games don't exactly have the most, in-depth story, okay?
They're just really cool and pretty. And
we're not playing
cool
the God of War remakes or The Last of Us or Red Dead Redemption or anything hard-hitting and in-depth. And Mario's not having an existential crisis. He's just a plumber dude fighting a giant turtle.
I wouldn't say he's not having a crisis.
Okay, so we do. We have a bit of a crisis in this movie, and they set it up from the jump. And this Mario, though, he left his job. Okay, he left his job, and he had a good plumbing job. I mean, he dragged Luigi along with him, but Luigi's always believed in him, and Mario's always believed in Luigi too. It looked like they got that brotherly bond, and you really get that to come across.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt and Charlie Day have a great back and forth. They feel like they're brothers, which good. You're supposed to.
I mean, Charlie Day is great, so he can make anything.
He can. He made Pacific Rim Uprising good. This Mario, things are not going good for the business.
He's down and out.
He's down and out.
It's kind of almost like a typical story
Yeah.
where it's like he's the little guy and the little guy's got to find his voice and find his power.
He has to power up. You know, I mean, this really is a very simplistic story. But, you know, again, they're basing it off of games that had simplistic stories, and sans a couple of them. So I appreciate them at least having enough of a story there and putting some effort in, you know, like some nice character moments there kind of throughout. Mario has some nice growth in there. Donkey Kong has amazing growth. You know what? Like, in a million years, I never would have thought that this is how we would have portrayed Donkey Kong. If y'all have seen the Green Hornet movie with Seth Rogen, that's Donkey Kong. For the 2 people out there talking to us who have seen it, that's Donkey Kong. They did such a great job with him, though. And there's a lot that we could say about this movie, you know.
And I think could this be a better franchise as it goes on? I think so.
It has to start somewhere.
I think so,
right?
yeah. And I think the start was like, it was okay.
Look, you know what? Coming from Mrs. Taco, that's high praise because she hates everything. Yeah. One thing that everybody can agree on is that this movie is stunning.
It's so
visually. Every location, every world that we've gone through, you know, even all the way down to the hair and the fur on Donkey Kong, the detail on the mushrooms. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous
They really took
movie.
their time with that, and I appreciate. I could give them credit for that. You know, give them their flowers because it's really a gorgeous movie.
It is. I mean, in the beginning when we're in New York, I mean, you know, of course it looks really, really good, but once we cross through to the other side, your eyes will be darting everywhere, looking at how beautiful everything is, picking up on all the little Easter eggs and details. It really, truly is an amazingly gorgeous, gorgeous movie. So shout out to the folks over at Illumination. You made probably the most visually stunning movie, well, until Spider-Man. By the time the movie ends, it ends in, you know, probably the traditional fashion that you're expecting. Again, we're not going to go into too many spoilers or anything like that, but as is the traditional case with every movie ever made, we do have credit scenes, so help me God. The credit scenes here, the first one is a nice little full circle moment, okay? It's kind of like a little ha-ha, wink-wink thing. The second one is the big one, though. The second one after the credits. Now, we're going to go ahead and kind of discuss it a little bit. Mega spoilers, okay? Like, if you want to avoid it, you go ahead and skip ahead like a minute or whatever. I don't know. Go ahead and skip, because this is going to be pretty big. So, at the end, we're showing the rubble and the destruction from the final battle and everything like that. As we're zooming in, we happen to see a very, very familiar white egg with green dots on it. It's rumbling around. Small bit of it cracks open. We can't see anything inside, but we do hear that telltale Yoshi ring out. And then boom, it cuts. Now we do get a little bit of a tease of, Yoshi's people and everything like that earlier on in the movie, but no Yoshi. There is a very distinct lack of a green dino in there. So that's a very nice tease for what we get in the sequel. And the location of it too. Now we're not going to spoil the location of said egg. It's very interesting where it happens to be in relation to the ending of the movie. So that'll be very fun to see how that plays out. Super Mario Bros. Is in theaters now. Not that you would be able to tell, because like I mentioned earlier with 4K, it's up for pre-order already. There is a steelbook.
That's just the standard now.
It is the standard at this point. It's barely out and they were already selling it. They got a steelbook over at Best Buy here, but right here is the grand poobah of it all. Now this right here is over at Walmart. Done. I didn't even see the movie yet, and I pre-ordered this. Done. I am that weak. So, Super Mario Bros. Is in theaters right now. If you had a chance to check it out, of course, let us know down in the comments below. How did you feel about it? Were you more Mrs. Taco meh, or were you more Mr. Taco hey? Can't wait for more sequels.
Probably Mr. Taco. But I feel like you could understand where I'm coming from.
Look, yeah, I understand and respect it. I don't ever agree with it. Until next time, guys, it's been VHS Taco signing off. I'm going to go ahead and book some 3D tickets before Mrs. Taco realizes. Let's go. Adios. Woo!